saying it's hot in New York City. And I was like, when I was filming my self-tape, I don't know, I like get into like costumes, I guess, just like to fit the character and stuff. And
Mhm.
I like was wearing like a button-up shirt and like a vest. And when I took off the vest, I like looked in the mirror and I was like, is that hot today? Is it that hot?
Mm-mm. Let me tell you something. It was 90 degrees for the past 3 days, I think. And it kind of came out of nowhere. And the first day was kind of like, oh, like, this is so funny. And then it wasn't funny. And
That's the time Phil was like, what's good?
no, Punxsutawney Phil, I'm not gonna slander his name any more than I already have. But I went to go visit my friend Molly. She works at a cookie shop. Shout out
Hmm.
Molly. And the AC was broken and it was already 90 degrees out, meaning that it was like 12 degrees hotter than it was outside because they have all the ovens going. And they have like a thermometer in the actual like kitchen area where all the ovens are. And it said it was 102 in there. And they don't have a back door. They only have a front door. There's no like airflow. So when I walked in there, it was just like hot.
Immediate sweat.
Yeah. So that was really funny. But I mean not funny, but yeah, like it was too hot to be working in a cookie shop in 102-degree heat.
Genuinely, I feel like no one really talks about like what it's like to be a sweaty girl. Like frankly, like maybe we'll need to get into that one day. Maybe not today.
Maybe the sweaty girl episode.
This is
Yeah.
not the episode. No, because like genuinely, I'm such a sweaty person, and like for me, it's like it's like a humiliation ritual every time I step outside in the summertime. I like go to my Pilates classes, and then I'm like done, and then like everyone's like, I'm so sweaty, like ugh, and I'm like, so I sweat through my shirt. My reformer is wet. Nobody wants to go to that one now.
I didn't go to ballet this week because it was so damn hot and I knew my limits because I was like if
No.
I go in there and I think they have one of those buildings where they don't turn on the AC until like a certain month, probably like May.
That's terrible. That's
And this
that's terrible.
and the studio that we dance in gets all like this natural light in because there's all these windows all around. And I was like, I know it's going to be so hot in there that it's going to be hot ballet class. And I'm going to leave and it's going to be hot outside. I'm getting on the train, it's going to be hot. And then I'm going to go home and it's going to be hot. And all I have is this box fan in my window. And unfortunately, that's not enough because I still need to get into AC unit. So,
And like frankly, the thing is, talking about hot classes, dude, to be the people going into the fucking like room that Bodied by Daryl was in afterwards,
yuck.
girl, yuck. Cause like I
Yuck.
no, because like genuinely, I remember when I used to dance,
Yeah.
like there would be a class and you would see those mirrors fogged up and you're like, fuck, I don't want to go in there. It's gonna smell like pennies and I don't.
Mm.
Deodorant Rex in the comments.
This is not, y'all, this is not an aluminum free summer.
I'll tell you something for free. I have gone through so many deodorants. I was like, I only used Old Spice for so long. I was like, I need to use men's deodorant. And then I was like, this is not cutting it because I was like, I would lift up my arms. It was
Drenched.
just sweat. I told you I'm a sweaty girl. But I started using Carpe. I will say it literally, so it recommends you put it on at night. So
Okay.
I put it on at night the other day because I was going to go play pickleball. And then I woke up, I put my sports bra on. It was all over my fucking sports bra. And I'm like, dog, I've been wearing you for at least like 8 hours now, and you're still all over my clothes. Like literally, I don't know if you know the brand Tank Air. Tank Air changed my life.
Yeah.
It's like tank tops
Yes.
or like just like clothes. Tank Air changed my life. I'm sorry to be basic, but I love the Tank Air tank tops. Um, but like they have like instructions on when you order it, and they're like, do not get deodorant on it if you want to return it. Do not get makeup on it if you want to return it. Do not. And I'm like, okay. And then like my dad got me one for Christmas because I was like, please, Tank Air tank top, please. And I tried it on and I got deodorant on it. Thank you, Carpe. Um, and I was like, it fit me a little big, and I was like, it fits me. It fits like a glove. It fits like a glove.
Perfect.
It's perfect. I love it.
Oh. Man, this shirt today I'm wearing, I literally got this, y'all, I'm now a Depop warrior. It's really bad. Enough. It's really bad.
I don't know why I did
Um,
that. I'm sorry.
no, I was like, what does Depop have to do with 6'7"? Anyway, I go on there at least once a day, and every time I make a deal with anybody on there, it's a gambling problem.
It's your Kalshi.
No, like it's bad. Yeah. But I got this Syracuse jersey. I don't even rep the school like that. It just looked cute, and I like the
No, it's
colors.
cute. It's cute. It's like giving like with your hair and also like the like football-y like jersey. It's
Hmm.
giving like homecoming.
And I believe in homecoming, always. And I believe in, I think I'm in a very SZA era of my life, and I think that's where I'm at right now. Anyway, we didn't come here to talk about my Depop addiction and
Or
how body
deodorant.
does that. Depop addiction and being sweaty. Um, what we are talking about today is
Love.
relationships.
Bah.
Yeah. Me and Karen wanted to talk a little bit about love and relationships. Where do we begin? Let's
Dating
start with dating
apps.
apps because I'm not on those.
Yes. I am not on those either, but I used to be. I
Mm,
frankly, I don't think I wish so bad, Morgan, that I had never been on a dating app before.
real.
Like I wish so bad. Like genuinely, I feel like that genuinely fucked up my brain in a real way. Like
Go
for a little
further.
bit. Like not like forever, obviously.
Hmm.
But I feel like it kind of messed up my perception of like relationships for a little bit.
Hmm.
Because I feel like it teaches you to like categorize people and also just like find them expendable,
Mm.
which is like so fucked up. And I also feel like is the problem with a lot of people in relationships now. Like, I don't know. I have a lot of feelings about like the advice that people give you when you're like looking for a relationship. Like, I know you share that meme where it's like when you show someone your real personality and they're like, it's too much. And that's like, that's a very real feeling that I've had in a lot of friendships. But I was like reflecting on this earlier. And I was like, you know, so many like potential relationships or just like people that I was dating, like they like would stop liking me because I was like too quick to be like myself. And then people were like, "Oh, but you need to just like you need to like reveal yourself a little bit at a time and like not lead on that you like them too much because if you like them too much, then they'll like stop liking you and they'll stop responding." I'm like, "That's fucking dumb, actually."
Like it's teaching that love and relationships are things to be chased versus like
Yeah.
that should exist between two people. And I think, yeah, that sucks.
Or it's like, "Oh, like you guys are talking? You're gonna respond immediately, or like you respond immediately and then they don't respond for like 2 hours and then like the expectation is like you don't respond for 2 hours and I'm like, why can't we just have a fucking conversation? Actually,
What dating apps were you on, Karen?
what dating apps was I on? I was honestly, dating apps are kind of scary. Um,
Hmm.
like there'd be times where people would say things and I was just like, why would you say that to someone? But I was on first I started with Bumble. That was
Mm,
the first one I ever downloaded, just because like you could text first, and I was like, I had just turned 18, so I was like a little bit younger, so I was like, I don't want like weird people messaging me. And then I downloaded Tinder,
okay.
but like I don't know, I'm just not like a big like hookup person, so that wasn't really like my vibe. But like a lot of
Hmm.
the people that you see on Bumble are also people that you see on Tinder, so it's just like. And then I downloaded Hinge, because people were like, oh, that one's a little bit more serious, and like the people in there are a little bit more selective. So I was like, okay. And I also wasn't really sure what I wanted,
Hmm.
I guess. Because, like, in my mind, I was like, oh, I want a relationship. But then I'm like, do I really want a relationship? And then I feel like I wasn't, I feel like you're not really at least for me, because, like, I didn't really, like, seriously date anyone in high school. Like, I wasn't, like, I didn't really have a boyfriend until, like, I was in college and stuff. Like, I kind of just, like, I was locked in on,
Yeah.
like, my studies and just, like, getting into college and stuff. I also was like doing so many extracurriculars, I didn't really have time. And also I was terrified that if I started dating someone, my parents would both make me explode with their mind. So,
That part. Yeah.
no, like the thing is, they like never told me like you can't date someone, but like genuinely, I was terrified of dating anyone.
Yeah.
I was
I think
like,
that's also like a people of color thing.
yeah, I'm like, if I date anyone, my parents will disown me. No, but like the thing is, like I had a crush in middle school, and then my
Hmm.
mom found out about it because one of my family friends was a teacher at my middle school. So she told my
Yeah.
mom, and my mom like yelled at me, and I was like, I'm sorry.
No, I remember I had a crush on this one kid in high school and I had told my parents about it. And I think the first thing that my mom said, I think it was my mom. Yeah. The first thing my mom said was like, he needs to be ready to die for you as a black woman. And at the time, yeah, and at the time I was like, girl, you so crazy. And this way, now a little bit, that's still a little crazy. But also I understand it.
But like I
I
feel like
think,
that's a lot of pressure to like put on a young person who's
yeah,
like doesn't even know themselves, and then it's like,
I was like 16. I was like, girl, I'm like, we literally like doodle on a paper in science class. Like I don't, we're not, but yeah,
Yeah, like I feel like this is just a me thing, but I didn't like it wasn't clocking to me that people in high school were like actually doing adult things, I guess.
having sex and
Yes.
going out. Yeah.
Like genuinely, I was like I went to like okay, I went to two parties in high school when I was like a senior and I was like 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 genuinely I
Yeah.
was like I'm so bad. But like and I felt so bad also like going to them
Mhm.
like I felt so guilty. But I remember okay, actually this is I think this is where it all stems down to. It took me a
Okay.
while to get there. But so one of my brothers, because I have two older brothers who are both like pretty a lot older than me, but my oldest one is 10 years older than me. So that's like, he was doing a lot of like being an adult and like figuring himself out while I was like a child. So one of
Hmm.
his girlfriends told me, she was like, when I was in middle school, I think, she was like, if you're going to date a boy, you need to be ready to have sex. And I like that kind of like changed everything in my mind for me because I was like, I am not
Hmm.
ready to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't even like want to think about that. And like for me, that wasn't even something that I like thought people were actually doing in high school. I was like, they can't actually be doing that.
I thought it was a myth.
Yeah, I was like, that's not like people getting pregnant in like high school. I'm like, I don't understand how that happens. Like genuinely, like I couldn't even imagine like
Yeah.
doing that.
I
Um,
remember I like it was weird because I remember for a long time I was like, oh, I can't imagine that people are doing that. And then it was like the kids at my school were crazy, so then it became very real. But
mhm.
I remember I think it was my junior year, I got really into talking to a lot of men at once. Like it wasn't even it wasn't anything serious. I think I was bored. But I just
That's
like I think I
real.
wanted to just like poke the bear and see what would happen. Like
Yeah.
what will the response be? And I remember particularly like one guy was like super hypersexual in the way that he was talking to me. And that was just
Mm,
like really weird and strange to
yeah.
me. And I was like, LOL, here's a meme because I'm like, I'm not doing that with you. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not playing those games with you. And it was just like, it was weird. Like, I don't know. I think my brain, like similar to you, I was not super involved in like relationships really, or even really like friendships that much. I had like four friends that I was consistent with, but it's like I was so focused on like theater and school and like
Yeah.
literally everything else I had going on because I was in like three different choirs and I was doing things at church and I was like doing like I was doing so much that the last thing on my mind was that, oh, like I could actually date a boy. But no, I just like I never really felt like I had the time, nor was
Hmm.
anybody like really pursuing me seriously in that
Yeah.
way. I'm like I've written about it a little bit where it's just like a lot of guys in high school, it felt like would crush on me like in secret and like send me messages in like weird ways. And I was like, what are we talking about? I think a lot of that
Hmm.
was coming from like a racial place, but I think a lot of it was just like I didn't fit in. No, but like I I was just not like not really like my peers. Like it wasn't,
Yeah.
it was never giving like running with the crowd. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it was like my experience with high school dating was like relatively non-existent, and like I feel like that put me in a weird place going into college. Because in my mind, it's like people talk about college and they're like, oh, that's where you meet like your future husband slash wife slash whoever.
Yeah.
And even before I went to Syracuse, I was like, I don't feel like I'm going to meet the love of my life at Syracuse University.
I know I feel similarly to you where like I would talk to people in high school for sure. Like we would like text like every day, but then I kind of feel like I'll be honest and I will say probably not probably. I will say some of it was definitely from me in the fact that again, I had issues when it came to like feeling like I could date someone because I just didn't feel like I had that permission. And also, like, what my brother's ex-girlfriend told me, like, it just stuck with
Hmm.
me. Because, like, in my brain now, I'm like, no, like, that was a lie. If it was the right person, they would have not pressured you to do anything. And they
Yeah.
also would have been willing to, like, wait or, like, take time with you, like, whatever. So I do feel like that kind of, like, skewed my viewpoint a little bit and made me feel like I had to do things that I wasn't ready for, which kind of like kept me from being able to like it was like a mental block. But I definitely do feel like I kind of was a stepping stone for a lot of people. They would like talk to me, and then when I actually started getting to like maybe we should go on a date, they'd be like, actually, I have a girlfriend now. I'd be like, oh, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
really cool. Which I will say, being vulnerable really affects me, I think, in relationships.
Twin.
No, because it's like when you're used to someone when you're used to thinking like wholeheartedly that someone likes you and like being invested in someone and thinking that you like them too.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, I'm dating her now. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
like, so the issue is me.
It always boils down to feeling like it's something that's so it feels like something is so like deeply internally wrong with you,
Yeah.
but you don't know what it is because they like nobody's going to tell you.
Yeah.
And it's like there is nothing wrong with you, but it feels like you are the common factor in these people, when in reality it's like it's not that they're exclusively the problem, but a lot of times it's their own viewpoints and the way that they view the world that affects how you are.
Yeah.
Um, I know there was like one guy in in high school, of course. I mean, not of course, like this is real life, but there was one guy. I was, I think this had to be junior and senior year of high school. He was in my language arts class, and I wasn't like really crushing on him, but I did find him interesting because for those who don't know, am a military kid and lived in Maryland for a better part of my childhood, and then moved to Georgia. And we were in class, and he was like, "Oh, I'm from Maryland too." And I was like, "Wait, that's so cool. I don't know anybody else from Maryland. Like, you know the vibes, like da 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 da." And we were like cool, like we were literally all over each other all the time, like just being silly in class. And then one day, somebody said the dreaded words, like, "Oh my God, you guys would be so cute together." And he was like, "Oh, like I don't date black girls." And I was like, "Ooh." And that like for me, of course, did like some damage. It really hurt because it was just like
Yeah.
number one, I didn't say I wanted to date you. I was cool with like being your friend. And I was like, but now that I know that like number one, you're racist. But number two, it's like just something so out of my control that first of all, I wouldn't change for the world. I love being a Negro, okay? Put that in the space. But it's just like to be like, oh, I'm excluding you because you are colored is really crazy. And what
Yeah.
happened after that was like I was like, cool. Actually I don't fuck with you at all. And I completely iced him out, which I'm good at, which I'm working on because icing people out isn't always healthy. But I completely iced him out and I was like very like dry, whatever. And he was like, "What happened? I thought we were cool." And I was like, "You're racist. I don't think that's just not how
Yeah.
I rock." Um,
Also, it's like you're not cool anymore. Because it's
like
like you were cool and then you said something that was absolutely unnecessary. Because like the thing is he didn't have to say that.
he didn't have
Like
to say that.
even even if that's how he thought, he literally could have just been like, "Oh no, like I like Morgan as a friend."
But wait, there's more.
Oh,
Because literally as time went on, this had to be like a year later. He starts texting me because he did have my number. Well, he would like Snapchat me sometimes, like random ass stuff, and I would leave it on open because I was just like, "What's wrong with you?" But he starts texting me, and he was like, "Hey, like I know I said some really messed up stuff like a year ago, and I just want to let you know that like I'm sorry, and I've really grown, and like I want to be better." And I was like, "Cool, be better for somebody else." Um, but it was like to the point where it was like he was so persistent, and this might be where my avoidant tendencies were born because it was like persistence in the wake of me saying I don't respect you and I don't like you anymore,
yeah.
and him still like trying to like get to me. But he would literally like text me and be like, "Good morning, beautiful," like all the time. Literally text me during class like, "You look gorgeous today," and I'd be like, "Oh my God, ugh." And I remember I would like I had a spam on Instagram at this point, and I would like post screenshots of my spam and be like, "Y'all see this shit?" Like it was bad. Um, and I remember I was going to prom, and he was like, "I want to see your prom dress," and I was like, "I can't do this." And it was just like really difficult as like a black girl who already felt weird being in I think my school is like 93% white. I think that's the ratio of the county anyway. But it was like I was already in a predominantly white school. I knew that like this like white man pattern. I knew not funny, sorry. I knew this white man was like just up in my grill being like strange and weird, but I was like, I don't want to have to like be the person to be like, oh, this is okay.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, I've apologized and I'm better. And it's like I feel as if I have had a really hard time, still have a really hard time with like people apologizing and then me immediately being like, cool, let's move on. When in reality, it's like
Yeah.
an apology is just an acknowledgement of what you've done, not necessarily an indicator of change.
I
Yeah,
think
it
that's kind of
was
like a tricky thing in a relationship too,
yeah.
is like I feel like just in general, whether it's friend like any relationship, it's like people will be like, "Oh, I'm sorry." But it's like, this is a bit dramatic, but it's like if you just cut off my leg and then you're like, "I'm sorry," put a plaster on it. And then it's like that doesn't really make my leg grow back. That doesn't give me stitches. That doesn't fix anything. Like it's just like that damage is done.
Yeah.
And like I feel like that's kind of like for me, I guess, like a lot of things get caught up in my brain or like it's hard for me to like move on from things. And I
Hmm.
feel like it's because a lot of people have trouble like either taking accountability or like actually changing from their like patterns.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just kind of difficult to like continue sometimes, I feel like.
Part of that lies in wanting to see the better in people and believe that they have changed. But in reality, it's like change takes time, number
Yeah.
one. But also, it takes a certain level of deconstruction and acknowledgement, which is something that most people don't do because it's painful and uncomfortable.
And I feel like something that genuinely is just hard to accept is like sometimes people just won't change for you
Yeah.
and you're not the right person and that they don't want to change for you and they're not
Yeah.
going to.
Yeah. And I think the first time that you experience that and like realizing that someone won't change for you is really important. And I think some people like experience it and instead of taking that and moving on, they change themselves, which I don't believe in.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, change yourself if you're like fucking up, but like I think if you are fundamentally changing who you are or shrinking yourself to make somebody else feel better, that's not real. That's appeasement versus trying to actually build anything.
Yeah.
And it's like it'll eat away at you until it grows into resentment.
I feel like I kind of had a similar experience to you. How you said like you were like talking to a bunch of people at once your junior year.
Yeah.
Like at least for me, that's kind of how like dating apps, like what it devolved into. Please
Hmm.
don't come for me. I'm not saying that this is something that I'm proud of. I'm
Boo!
burn the witch. No, I'm like this isn't my spirit. I genuinely no, genuinely I was just like it just kind of felt like a game, I
Yeah.
guess, for me is like how dating apps felt because I was like, okay, like all these people like me. And I get like for me, I wasn't even like, oh, do I like this person? Do I find them attractive? I was just like, oh, I guess they're cute, and then like matched with them,
Mm.
which I feel like isn't the best way to meet people because
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't necessarily just want to, I don't know. For me, personality is a really big thing. I've always been someone who's like, I don't label my sexuality. And then people are like, oh, that makes you interesting. I want to label your sexuality immediately. Because for me, I'm just like, it's not really like, I'm gonna like who I'm gonna like.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not really thinking about anything else.
Because it's like, and I think some people describe it as demisexual, which I'm like, I guess
I
we're
think it's
getting a
like
little.
because demisexual is like I do identify as demisexual, but that's like
Mm,
a level of like asexuality,
mm,
which basically just means that you can't be intimate with someone unless you have like a
an emotional
an
connection.
emotional connection.
I'm like, I am not really attracted to people unless I'm emotionally connected to them.
Hmm.
And so I think that's like where a bit of my struggle with dating has come from, or even like with like flirting in general, because I'm not
Hmm.
like, I see people and I'm like, oh, I think they're like aesthetically beautiful, but I'm not like, oh, I see somebody and I want to kiss them on the mouth. Like that's just not my,
Yeah, like that's not really my thought process.
yeah,
I feel like I know some people are like, that guy's so hot, I want to sleep with him. And I'm like, that's not really like how I ever process or think.
yeah,
Like I'm kind of just like, even when I was like younger. Like I'd be like, oh my God, that person looks so interesting. I would love to like drink tea and read a book with them.
mm. Yeah. I think I've always been the kind of person I feel like you're this way too, where it's like you're seeking out emotional connection more than anything.
Yeah.
And I feel that way about a lot of my friendships as well. I think I'm like the people who I'm like really close with, it's the conversations get silly, but it's like the emotional vulnerability is there. And like
I'll
again,
give you an example. I'll give you an example. Okay, so literally when we Morgan and I have been like very close friends. I feel
coming
like
up on 5 years, six
yeah.
years, I would say six.
Yeah. Like literally, okay, so at Syracuse, there's bigs and littles like in within the drama program. And we were paired. We are littles together, same bigs. But like Morgan and I like really like bonded and I feel like we've kind of just been like I don't know. With Morgan, it feels more like I've never had a sister before. But it feels more like we're sisters and like friends because it's like
Don't
I
make me
feel
cry
like
on the
there's
clock, Karen.
I feel like there's definitely times where I'm like we're not even like fucking with each other that much, but it's like we're still like we're
Yeah.
connected. if that makes sense, which I feel like is more of a sibling bond than an actual like friendship bond.
Right.
Because it's like, I don't know, I feel like with friends, like sometimes I'm mad at my friends and I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. Well,
Yeah.
like there's been times where I feel like we're mad at each other, but like if something happened, I'd be like, what's up? Like we need to,
Yeah. And I think part of that is like we did live together for a time. And so it was like we were
yeah,
kind of forced to go there. Oh,
London.
sorry. But
No,
yeah.
you're good.
Sorry.
When we were in London, literally we had a professor and he thought that we were in this like torrid,
Yeah.
like we were like pining after each other and like we just like were best friends and we didn't realize we were in love. And like I just feel like there were so many professors or just people who thought Morgan and I were like in a relationship and it's like no, we frankly are just besties.
We're just besties. It's like we like first of all, Karen and I were born 3 days apart, so that's probably part of it. But I think like it's like my relationship with Karen is one in which I'm never questioning like the validity or uh the genuinity. No, that's not a word. The genuine nature of our friendship. Like
Yeah.
it's very real to me. You know, I also feel like we have a level of respect in our friendship that a
Mm,
lot of people just like don't have for each other. Not necessarily they don't have for each other, but it's like whenever either of us are going through relationship things, I feel like we don't necessarily like poke the bear, but it's like
mm,
share what you want to talk about and we'll talk about that versus being like, here's what I think your problem is.
yeah. And I feel like with a lot of people, that's like a hard thing to talk about. Like everyone's like, don't share things about your relationship with your friends, which I honestly, I will say I agree with. Um, I do feel like it's something that I had to learn, but it's like, A, if you tell your friend, like most of the time when you tell your friends things about your relationship, it's only going to be bad things. It's never going to
Mhm.
be like when they bring you flowers or when they cook dinner for you or like when you both had like a really good day. Like it's always going to be like the worst parts of your relationship because that's when you like need to vent.
Hmm.
And then your friends all hate your partner. And then it's like, well, you can't really come back from that, you know? So I will say, and also like there are times, and I think that this goes for friendships and social media and everything, that like things creep into your relationship that like wouldn't, or like seeds of doubt creep into your relationship that would not have been there if you like didn't say anything or if you didn't like look something up on Instagram or like other things like that. And I just feel like as a human being, like human beings are so complex and there's already so much that's like going on in your brain when you get into a relationship and just like when you're dating someone. And it's like you don't really need other things like working against you, frankly. And I feel like intuitively you like already know how you're feeling and you already know what you should do a lot of the time. So it's like I'm not saying like don't confide in your friends, but it's just like there's been times where I'm like, oh, I wish my friend like hadn't told me this, especially because I don't know about you, Morgan, but like
Mhm.
when my friends are dating people and they like tell me things, I keep my opinion to myself a lot of the time because I'm like, I don't want this person to hate me. I don't want this person to then tell their partner that I said any of this. And then their partner's like, oh, fuck her. I don't want you to be friends with her anymore. And then you guys like have that wall because it's like, I want to be there for my friends. So I'm going to listen. If they want
Yeah.
my input, I'll give them my input. But also, always it's going to be like very objective. It's never going to be like break up with your boyfriend, break up with your girlfriend, break up with your partner. Like
Yeah.
it's always going to come from a like because I don't know. For me, it's just like I want to be the best friend that I can and also be the most supportive person that I can, but I also don't want to tell someone what to do.
I think whenever it comes to my friends' relationships, if it's something that they tell me that sounds any kind of abusive, I will say something about it because I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't play that. But
No,
I
that's
think
fair.
when it comes to like any type of fight or disagreement, my first inclination is to ask the question, like, what do you want the outcome to be? And I do that with like most conflict that like people ask for advice about because it's like not only will that guide my course in what I say, but it's like typically I'm not gonna like sit there and bash somebody unless they've done something that I perceive to be harmful. But yeah, I'm like, I think I remember when I was in my most recent relationship, I only really shared the positive things with my friends, which was interesting because then when it ended, everybody was like, what the fuck happened? And it's not that there wasn't like anything inherently negative going on, but it's just like the way that I handled conflict in my life and the way that I view the people in my life is like I try really hard to always like assume the best out of situations. So even if somebody does something shitty, I'm like, oh, like maybe it was this. Like I try not to think that that's, somebody's intention.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like, when the breakup does happen or whatever else, then you have to be like, okay, with whoever you choose to confide in. I'm like, I am always like really truthful. I'm like, not only was this what happened, I'm like, but here's what I think my part was in it. Almost probably overly so.
But also, I think it's good to be self-aware. A lot of people aren't self-aware and like tend to not think about like what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I
But
feel like it's a
self-awareness,
good quality to like,
yeah. Self-awareness is a slippery slope because I think, again, like you said, it's important to be self-aware. I think myself, and maybe you can probably relate to this as well. I think sometimes I'm so self-aware to the point where it's like I isolate because I'm like, okay, I need to like, I don't think my self-awareness is coming from a place of control. I think it's like I almost feel out of control because I'm so self-aware,
mm,
where it's like I can literally go back into every single moment and see where I went wrong. And then I have to live with the notion of like, oh, there's nothing I can do about this. I ponder. But I think like when it comes to relationships and self-awareness and even like with your friends and things like that, it's like you have to be really careful. I know like some people have told me things about their partners and it's like I know internally I don't like their partner, but it's like I'm gonna try and move respectfully the next time that I see them.
yeah.
Unless I know that they're absolute garbage, then I don't care. But like I think that self-awareness in a relationship can also be detrimental to the relationship because that will hold you back from being vulnerable.
Mm,
Because when you're
yeah.
monitoring for the room, sorry, I said a little fast. When you're monitoring yourself so much, you are trying to make sure that you do everything right. And I think a lot of times that can result in a lack of vulnerability. I know I have had that issue before. When a lot of people come to me for relationship advice, I don't know why. That's not my,
You're like not the one or the two. So
no, I'm like, I have not been successful in that realm. We'll get there when we get there. But I'm like, I think when
city
you're
girls
on
up.
City Girls up like that, no, never that. No, but like, I think when you have an outer perspective on someone's relationship or even on like a friendship or a situation, sometimes it can be helpful. And
Mm,
in my brain, I'm like based off the relationships in my life and the people that I know and like how I feel about relationships. I'm like, I value respect more than anything. And so for me, it always comes to a place of like, are you respecting each other and do you actually love each other? And that will motivate you to do whatever it takes to like be together. And the truth of the matter is, most people, one person in a relationship probably doesn't respect the other as much, which is
yeah.
unfortunate, but I think that's also like kind of the time that we live in.
Hmm.
And it's like, I think what people define as respect is blurry. I think respect to me is being able to look at somebody as a complete and whole person and realize that not only are they actually like a human being with their own thoughts, feelings, whatever else, but they have a whole network of people that you don't know that also love them and care about them. And it's like when you are with that person, it is your job to consider the fact that when you hurt that person, you're hurting everybody else. And when you hurt that person, it's like number one, the network is going to know about it, but also it's like that should be the very last thing you want to do to somebody that you love and care about is hurt them. And I feel
Yeah.
like some people like to hurt people for fun. Not saying that that's my personal experience. I don't think anybody that I've been with has tried to hurt me for fun, but I think it's like the things that I've seen and heard from my friends and like even from people I don't know, it really like scares me the way that they talk about relationships and they're like, "Oh, I like being with people who treat me bad," because I'm like, that's not a relationship then, that's self-harm. And Karen's is publicly a hopeless romantic. I don't claim that title, but I'm like, I do believe in the idea that there is somebody for everyone. And like, if you want these X qualities in somebody, they do exist. It's not out of the realm of possibility. It might take more time. You might have to raise your standards, but I don't think that it's impossible to like want a love that's respectful and comfortable and peaceful and whatever else. But I think a
Yeah.
lot of people equate having this like adrenaline rush and everything being exciting and kind of scary in a relationship to like that being what love or whatever else feels like. But I think in reality, it's like love is not your nervous system on 10.
Yeah.
It's be able to like be peaceful and like fart in front of each other, whatever. Like it's literally
Mm.
like it's a certain level of acknowledgement and
No,
understanding.
genuinely, I feel like being a human being is one of the scariest things in a relationship.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's different than being emotionally vulnerable because it's
Yeah.
like genuinely. Okay. So with my boyfriend in college, I we went to Amsterdam and I got horrible, horrible food poisoning. I had food poisoning for a week. And let me tell you, girl,
Mm-mm.
I was projectile vomiting. I was projectile other things. Like, no, projectile is the wrong word, but you know what? It's like for dramatics, you know what
Ooh.
I mean? No,
Carry the food. Sorry.
no, like genuinely, it was horrible. Like
Yeah.
I was so sick. And I was just like, this is so embarrassing. We're sharing a hotel room and he's hearing everything, hearing everything. And I'm like, will he like look at me the same way? Like blah blah blah. But like genuinely, like I think it's so scary to like I guess like be gross, be a human, just like do natural things in a relationship. And like I definitely feel like it's more of a like me mental block for that because I know some people they like don't care, but I do feel like it's kind of scary because you're like, are they gonna judge me?
I think a lot of it lies in, I'm not going to say white girls don't have this issue because I'm sure that they do, but I think a lot of
Hmm.
it lies in like as women of color, as women in general, there is a heavy emphasis on being so perfect and so clean cut and so like gorgeous all the time. And when you do not gorgeous things, people are like, even like being funny.
Yeah.
When you're pretty and funny, the people are confused. They're like, "What's wrong with you?" And
No, that's such a
story of
real
my life.
issue. No, genuinely, like there's been so many people that I meet. Well, I
Yeah.
have this issue where people like meet me and they're like, "Oh, you're so intimidating." And I'm like,
No,
I'm
yeah, I
five
have that issue too.
three. I'm 5'3", and I get really awkward when I meet new people, and I am really weird, and I'm also very shy. Like a lot of people think I'm rude, when I first meet them because of how shy I am, but I'm like, I don't think you guys understand. I like used to hide behind my parents when I met new people for like probably an embarrassingly long time. And it's like I'm not trying to be rude. I just genuinely get so scared like meeting new people. Yeah, I read something the other day and it's like, oh, is she actually shy or is she just being rude and then like using being shy as an excuse? But I'm like, and I like thought about it and I was like, I don't think I am being rude though. Like I genuinely just like I get really nervous, like being in new spaces or just
Yeah.
like I've always been an anxious person.
I'm like, I get told I'm intimidating all the time. First of all, I'm 5'1", if the room didn't know that. 6 feet
Am I
tall and
taller than
blonde.
you?
You are, yes. Every person in my life is taller than me, except for my mom. Yeah, my mom is 4'11",
Oh,
and my dad is 6'2". So, for the men
there's
out there,
hope.
5'11" or below, you got to go. Okay. Anyway, no, but no, like I think like being told that I was intimidating had like also hit me hard because I'm like, number one, I'm just black and pretty and y'all are mad. But I'm like, and I'm also blind, so I squint all the time, which I think gives a, you know, like,
Girl, we need to get some contacts in those eyes.
dude, I think I lost my glasses. I haven't seen them in a minute. I
No,
also
but
haven't
that's
been
what I'm
looking for
saying.
them. No, but I told you what happened when I went to go get contacts. They dilated my eyes on accident, and then I was walking around extra blind trying to poke myself in the eye, put the contact. It was bad. Anyway,
Yeah,
but um, I think I've also been told like, I can't see you dating anybody, which also
I
like,
feel like that's just like a racist thing to say.
yeah, it's racist and it just like packs a punch because it I can't see you dating anybody and you're so emotionally unavailable, which I'm like, I don't consider myself to be super emotionally unavailable. I'm like, I think I'm emotionally available when you talk to me, but if you don't talk to me, then you wouldn't know that. But um I think it packs a punch because it just makes you, for me, being, so hot, pretty and funny. Sorry. But it just makes you it's very isolating because it's just like, okay, I'm desirable, but only to this extent. Or I'm desirable enough to look at, but not to want to get to know. And that is like,
Mm.
I think something that's like been really hard for me for a while, ever since I started realizing that people were like attracted to me for real. Yeah, and like I remember one of my boyfriends in college, my only boyfriend in college, I remember I had told him that that was something that really bothered me is that like, people like the idea of me more than they actually like me once they get to know me, whatever. And his response was, "You're not a celebrity." So I love that song.
Ah.
And then that added another host of issues of me feeling like every time that I had a thing to complain about, or every time I was feeling insecure or whatever, it was me uh doing too much in a way, or like
No, but
that I
genuinely,
was,
that's a crazy way to invalidate your feelings.
oh my God, he would say shit like that all the time.
He sounds insecure and like he was taking that out on you. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like there's so many insecure men who like find women who are like sure of themselves or just like baddies in general, even if like it doesn't, because I feel like a lot of the time people are like, oh, like men like to take confident women and like bring them down. But also I feel like even if they're not necessarily confident, like it just needs to be women who like are hot and also are well educated, are like
Yeah.
high achieving, successful, just like women who are better than them. And then even if they don't think that they're better than them, they'll like make them feel small
And
because they
it's like
make them feel small.
and it's frustrating because I've had like the men that I tend to attract and entertain, I'll claim that. Um, they tend to be leaning more towards the insecure side. I think instead of like looking at that for what it was, I was like, oh, but like I'm not insecure in that way, so like let me lift you up when that's probably not helpful either.
Yeah.
And eventually like in my college relationship, that like turned into me accepting things that were just like absolutely not okay.
Mm.
And eventually that relationship ended and it was, really terrible. And then I cut off all my hair and was in the city for a summer. But like
There's nothing like summer in the city.
there's nothing like summer in the city. I feel like we said that like
I know
two
we say
episodes
that
in
a
a row.
lot.
But no,
It's
it's
what I think of.
no, but because you can't say summer in the city without like someone
Lin
in a rush
Monroe.
meets someone looking pretty. Like it's stupid. But yeah, it's like when oh, now I can bring in the quote I heard on ER today. I'm somebody that considers myself to be the person that like people go to as a shoulder to cry on, which I
Mm,
don't mind, but I think I tend to take on like a lot of responsibility for other people's feelings, which is not healthy. I'm aware of that. I'm working on it. It's really hard because it feels like I took a lot of responsibility for other people's feelings for a long time. And when I was watching ER today, Susan is having this whole era where she's in therapy because she had to give up her niece essentially back to her mom, who is like a bad parent and whatever. So she's in
mm,
therapy, and she said something along the lines of, when you're the healer, people expect you to move on. Or when you're the healer, people expect you to move on first, or something of that nature.
hmm.
And I think it's like when you are so used to being the person that is like open enough for people to like come in and just like tell you heavy things and like whatever else, you kind of develop a habit of like taking that and just like letting it go. But you don't really let it go, you carry it with you. And even then, it's like when somebody comes to you and is like, I think you're gorgeous, like pretty, whatever else, you almost like let down the wall a little bit more and accept even more things that are probably like just, not great dating behavior.
Like our sophomore year in particular, that was something that I was really struggling with,
Yeah.
was like kind of always being open to other people and like taking on how they felt. And
Yeah.
like that would sit with me. And like for me, a lot of the time, people would like share with me like really heavy things, or they would like share with me a lot. And then like the way that I would interpret it is just like taking on their emotions for myself.
Yeah.
It's like they're still feeling that. So you don't really necessarily need to feel that too. I think it's
Right.
really helpful when both of you are feeling that is something that I learned. But also it's
Hmm.
just like healthier to like protect yourself from other people's feelings.
Yeah.
Because like for me, it was just getting so exhausting because I was like, I need to carry my own feelings and also everyone else's feelings, and then you're just burnt out.
Yep.
And I also feel like people don't really want to listen to you.
Hmm.
Like those people who tend to like project everything onto you don't really ever want to be there for you as well. Like I feel like there was this moment in time where I like had been talking to a guy and he ended up dating someone else, which like really threw me for a loop. And I was like really upset about it and I like really couldn't get over it. And I just kept talking about it over and over and over and over again. And my friends were like, "Can you shut up?" And I was like, Um, they were just like, it's annoying how much you keep talking about this. And I was like, well, it really hurt my feelings, so I'm really trying to process it because it was something that really affected me.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, and this like sticks with me forever. One of my old friends literally told me, you just seem so perfect all the time. I didn't think you had real feelings like everyone else. I just kind of thought of you as a robot. No, genuinely, that like stuck with me so bad because I was like, what do you mean? Like everyone has feelings.
One of the things that my friend Olivia said that
No,
her
you
mom
didn't.
told her that it's really hard to be the person that people perceive as strong. And I feel like as women of color, people automatically assume that like we are, because they're evil, people automatically assume that we are stronger than we are in medical senses, in real senses, whatever else. And so not only will they throw everything at us, but they will beat us up and then be like, why aren't you laughing? Um,
Yeah.
And I think that's the crux of it is like when people think that you're strong, they will literally punch you down so hard. and then not think that you're affected at all, because when you move through the world with a certain level of peace and confidence because you've been through enough, people assume that you're not feeling everything. And yeah, I think we also like train ourselves to think before we speak. And so when you move with a little bit more silence than everybody else does, I think people also perceive that as like a certain type of dismissiveness or a certain type of weird strength where it's like you don't have to say everything. And it's true, we don't have to say everything, but it doesn't mean that you feel anything any less.
See, I wish I thought before I spoke more. Like when I'm talking to like, well, I actually do think a lot before I speak when it's not about me,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like if my mom like tells me something, like a story,
Yeah.
like is asking me, I guess, for advice or like guidance, like I think so much before I like speak and like choose my words so carefully. And also I'm like, can she process this right now? Can she accept this? Same thing with my friends. Same thing with like anyone in my life. But as soon as like someone hurts me and I kind of like, I don't know, I'm a very sensitive person. Like I have such big feelings and I have such a hard time regulating my feelings because it's like they are so big. And I feel like that also comes from a place of like not really letting myself feel for a long time. Like I just kind of would just like keep everything down and just like keep everything to myself. And then it just all got so much that it's just like everything is big now.
Yeah.
Um, so as soon as I'm like in that elevated space, I'm like, I either like cannot talk and I'm like, I need us to, or I literally just say everything that comes to my mind, which isn't
Yeah.
a good thing. Um, I'm working on that. But it's just like, I will say, I think that's important to talk about because that is sort of what happens when you repress things for so long.
Yeah. I like used to set a crying timer in the sense that I knew I was going to cry or whatever else, but I would only give
Yeah.
myself 10 minutes and then I'd make
Wait, have you
myself
seen
stop.
Shrinking?
Mm-mm.
The show Shrinking? There's literally like this episode where like Harrison Ford's character is like, "Oh, give yourself like a crying time." And he'll be like set like a 15-minute timer and like cry for like 15 minutes and like that'll help you. Like that's actually a really like it sounds funny, but it's actually a really healthy way to process.
But the thing was, I needed to cry for 30 and I would only give myself 10.
Oh, I see.
Like it wasn't like, oh, like this is, my time to release or whatever. It was like I wouldn't allow myself to just like feel it.
Mm,
And I think I was doing that a lot during school because it was like so much of what we do incorporates our feelings and emotions. And I remember I was in musical theater performance, which was like sophomore year, and I would literally cry every class. I would cry every class because it's like I'm so emotionally tied into like my work and like what I do. And there was like one, I can't, every song. I think she made me do Satisfied during class, and I was like, why am
mm,
I crying during Satisfied? And Kathleen Wren was my teacher for that class, and it was she would ask these questions that would trigger me in the weirdest ways, and not in like a bad way. But I remember I was doing Satisfied, and she was like, "Have you ever met a man that you thought was smarter than you?" And I was like, "No."
no.
And then
No
we're
every
talking about
time.
the right. I was like, "What are you talking about?" And like maybe my dad, but
It doesn't
even
need to
then,
know that.
he doesn't need to know that. Mike, I'm smarter than you. No, but like even and then she starts asking the real questions about the song, which is like, have you ever found yourself in a situation where you felt like you've had to give up your happiness for somebody else? And I was like, a toast to the group. Like I was like cut the class. Yo, I love that song. But um no, it really I think something else that comes with being women of color is the idea of sacrifice. Not to like make it about Hamilton, but no, the idea of like sacrifice and feeling like sometimes you have to be the person to either let something go or take something on to make somebody else feel comfortable. And I think
Yeah.
that's as like we get older, because we're both 23 right now, soon to be 24. Um,
Bah.
but I think that's something that as we get older, we're both learning about in different ways.
Yeah.
And when it comes to relationships, it's like, how, if I'm sacrificing any part of myself, is it a part that I'd be okay with losing? And I think
Yeah.
that's something to think about.
See, the thing is, Morgan, I like was coming onto this episode and being like, "Oh my God, we're gonna talk about like funny stories about times we've been on dates." And then it's like,
The
what if
terror.
we just talked about the terrors or no, but I think it's important that we talked about that. I think
Yeah.
maybe in a different episode we can definitely talk about funny date stories.
For 23 years of my life and however many days I have until I'm 24, have always been a little bit scared about the idea of a relationship. And even when I've been in them, it's been scary because it's just like part of me feels like there's this inevitability that it's going to end at some point or
Yeah.
another, which is like, very not great thinking. But it's like, I know statistically from a logistical standpoint, most relationships end, and like that's just, how life goes. But PSA, it's like you can't move through life in every relationship with fear because your fears will consume you, and ultimately things will go exactly how you thought they did or thought they would.
Yeah. Well, it's
Um,
like manifestation.
yeah, in a way, I
Like
agree.
it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, I guess,
Yeah,
is the more accurate way to put it.
but on that same token, and let me say this, not saying that everybody's perfect, but you can't change yourself. You can't, well, I mean, change yourself if you need to change, but you shouldn't go into a relationship expecting anybody to fix you, and you shouldn't go into a relationship trying to fix anybody else.
Yeah.
And when things do go bad, because at some point things will, and if they don't, great, party on. It's like you can't take on the entire world and try and change every little bit about yourself that you think was wrong. A lot of times it's like we're just going to be wrong and we have to be like, I was wrong and party on and move on and party rock anthem for the rest of the fucking year. But I think that it's very important to like know yourself and ground yourself before getting into a relationship. I don't agree with the whole like you have to love yourself before you love anyone else chicanery, because I
Yeah.
think that, or that you have to be completely healed to get into another relationship, because I think those are two things that are highly unrealistic. And it's like if all of us were completely healed, honestly, I don't think anybody would be in a relationship. No, kidding, kidding. Because I remember when I got into my last relationship, my idea was like, oh, my life is really great and my friends are really great and everything is really good right now. I can now have this other addition to my life. It wasn't something
Mm.
that I was like, and this is going to complete the puzzle and everything will be perfect and we're all going to run off into the land and high five each other and kiss and whatever the fuck else. And I think that for a lot of people, it is that. Like, it's this thing of like, for honestly, I think men mostly have this issue. Sorry, the men out there. But it's this idea of like, I need to have everything together, and then the final piece is the girl. The final piece
Yeah.
is like the woman that will whatever the fuck else. But I think
Which I
like,
kind of I feel like that
yeah,
sort of like fits that thing where it's like, oh, you don't have to be the right girl. You just have to be the girl that was at the right
there at
time.
the right time. I think loving yourself shouldn't come from a place of like being able to like look yourself in the mirror every day and be like, I love me so much and I'm the best person to ever do it. I think loving yourself is being able to like be alone with yourself and be comfortable with that.
Yeah.
To like sit in your own silence and not be pining for somebody to come in and take the silence away. And I
Yeah.
think that what's being advertised to a lot of us, especially in like traditional conservative spaces, boo, is that like for especially women, it's like your purpose in life is to get married and have children. Moment of silence for that. Um, and for a variety of reasons. And it's like my biggest fear is pregnancy.
Same. Like
Besides
that's
failure is
genuinely.
pregnancy. Because it's there's a reason why in writing they say if you want to raise the stakes, you make a character pregnant, because it automatically, your life is no longer about you. It is now about
And it will
this,
never be the same after that. Like
and never
that's
the same
like,
after this. And even the way that people treat pregnant women, like I remember I had like so many coworkers, two coworkers at work who were pregnant, and it's like everybody found out they were pregnant, and now it's like, oh my gosh, and everything is now about the baby versus the person.
yeah.
And not to say that I'm afraid of my life not being about me, but what I am saying is like I'm 23 years old and I have so much I want to accomplish. Why would a kid be there? um,
I think that that's fair because I feel like, at least for me, I'm like, my parents like lived their life a specific way and that made me be able to happen. And then it's like, and now I need to be able to, I guess it's a lot of pressure to put on myself, but it's like, I need to be able to live life for like, people made sacrifices for you to be here. You should at least live your life in a way where
you
people like,
you owe them living your life to the fullest.
yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
trying. But I was trying to not say it in a rude way, I guess.
but I just had sorry, I know we've been jumping around. I just had another thought about dating apps and like what you were saying earlier, and like I've never been on a dating app. I've considered it a couple times because like there was a time where I was just really bored and I was like,
But then it's like that's not the right reason.
no, and I also knew I just wanted attention. Like I
Yeah.
again, self-aware enough to know that.
But I feel like it
Because
like teaches you that like people aren't real people with like feelings. Like they're just like pictures.
it's literally like going through Depop for me. Like I
Yeah.
it
No, and
it
that's like kind of I feel like why I got the way that I did when I was on dating app.
Because it just like it makes like, and I've always said this, I think I said this when I was like on the phone with my dad, like talking about this a couple weeks ago. Dating apps are mixing social pools and we're meeting people that we're not supposed to meet. I'm
Yeah.
not supposed to know John from finance. That's not like we're not running in the same circles. And everybody that I have dated has been like somewhere
Organic.
adjacent. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I've met people organically. Were the relationships any better? Probably not. But it's like,
No, but it's like it was people that you were meant to meet. Because it's
yeah,
like it's
like
almost like with dating apps, you're like forcing connection.
right.
Well, like if you meet, you like meet.
Yeah.
And that's like what was meant to
I met
happen.
my first boyfriend in London. I met this most recent one at a party. Like these are like in social settings where we were like meant to meet. And even then, it's like that the way that you approach and start that relationship is a little bit different because it's like I don't know anything about them. And so it's like we're learning about each other in real time.
Yeah.
Which is I think also a really interesting way to like build a relationship.
I feel like that's also like kind of the
Yeah.
best way, or like the only way that I would ever want to meet someone is like in real life because I'm like, I want someone to like meet me and be like, wow, you're pretty cool. And then me be like, wow, you're pretty cool. And then us become best friends.
Yeah.
I don't know. But also, that's kind of like my expectation of a relationship. I know a lot of people are like, I want someone who completes me. But I'm like, I want someone who is just my best friend forever and I never want to stop spending time with.
I'm like, I gotta be with some of this down to clown. I'm sorry. Like if we can't share a chuckle and a laugh, like I can't be there. And I think there is really something so beautiful about meeting somebody organically. And
Yeah.
even though like my relationships have not gone well, being able to like meet someone in that way and like to even like have that connection for however long or for a moment, it is a very special thing. With my first boyfriend, it was like we met in London at a party. There was nothing there. As a matter of fact, I thought he was really annoying. Should have listened to that. And then we like came back to America and I like ran into him on campus. Yeah, I'm like with both my relationships, it's like being able to meet them in a setting that felt like very natural and like being approached with conversation versus like I think you're hot and sexy because that's just
Like,
never been my bag.
I feel like that's kind of like the thing that dating apps put you through, though. At least like from my experience with them,
Yeah.
which was a long time ago, but also like then just the chat aspect is like there's already expectations of how you're talking. But like
Yeah.
if you meet someone in real life and you're like, oh, this person's attractive, then you can be normal because it's like I'm not expecting anything out of this. So
Yeah.
it's not like I need to give you my best pickup line or like we need to flirt immediately. It's just like let's gauge each other and see. Like my college boyfriend, one of the first things I told him was fuck you.
But it gives you the comfort of like, oh, this person actually likes me for who I am and who I am in this moment versus seeing my pictures and being like, ooh,
Yeah.
liking the actual you versus the perception of you. Yeah.
Also, like when you meet someone organically, you can be like, oh, I find you attractive. I want to get to know you more. But I don't know if I just want to be friends with you. I don't know like how it's going to go. And then you can
Yeah.
hang out and just like gauge it out and then
Yeah.
see how that goes.
I think my second date with my most recent boyfriend was kind of what you were referring to earlier as something that you just want to do, which was like we just like drank tea and listened to our favorite records at my apartment. And that was like I think probably my
My dream
favorite
date.
date. Huh?
My dream date.
My dream date. That was like probably like my favorite date I've ever been on because it's like, it's not anything that's particularly over the top, but it's like you're just sharing something that matters to you and it's very low stakes. It's very just like sitting with each other and talking and being each other's company. And I think that's like what I like about relationships. I don't like much about relationships, which is why I haven't been in many of them. And which is why I'm very much an observer in most aspects of my life. But now I'm at a place where I'm not like actively seeking out like who's the next victim, but I am I am at a place where it's just like, whatever happens, happens. And I'm not setting any expectations for how I'm going to feel moving through that relationship. It's like I think
Yeah.
it's great to just start at like a blank slate and being like, okay, like where do I want to be and what do I want?
Genuinely, I love being alone.
Hmm.
I love being with other people, but it's like it's nice when like someone is around you and it's not like so much. Like you can be silly, you can be goofy, you can be hee ha ha, ha. You can like love each other, do anything together, you know?
Yeah.
It's like you can literally just like sit on your phones together and be in love. And it's just like
It doesn't have to be an event all the time. And I think like when it comes to a relationship, I think that whoever you're with should be somebody that allows you to embrace every part of yourself and that makes you feel beautiful even when you are absolutely crusty and busted.
Yeah.
And I think that that's like a really beautiful thing. Be chopped in front of your partner. Yeah, so we talked a lot this episode about, relationships and whatever else, and I'm sure we'll talk about it again. I think we should both deliver a PSA. My PSA is love yourself even when it's uncomfortable and find somebody that loves you as much as you love yourself, if not more.
My PSA, find someone who adds to your life instead of takes away, and also is like as joyful and whimsy as you are, if that makes sense. Like not like don't date people who are like more melancholy. Because like again, as I have said before, I kind of like am a more melancholy person anyway, but like I am a very joyful and whimsy person. But like maybe date someone who makes your inner child happy too. And also who like makes you happier to be yourself instead of like wanting to hide who you are.
Never date anybody that makes you question your love for yourself.
Yeah.
Everybody deserves love. It'll find you.
And like they should be your biggest fan.
They should be your biggest fan. And if I hear from anybody that I know that listens to this about some chicane,
Oh,
sorry, my lights turn off at 10:25. It's a sign. It's the Lord telling me to shut up. Hold on. Okay. No, like I promise you, there's nobody worth being with that treats you like garbage. There's too many people in the world. And
genuinely.
realistically, in your dating pool and where you live, there's probably 400 people that could probably do it for you. So don't settle for a loser. I mean it. And that goes across all genders and all sexualities and all whatevers. Do not settle for losers. There's too many winners out there. Traffic report.
So I just want to start off by saying, I don't know if you've seen anything to do with One Piece. I don't know if you read the manga. I don't know if you watched the live action. So I have a very interesting relationship with One Piece because I didn't really, okay, so I watched the live action when it came out, and then I knew about it just because my dad would watch it when I was little. Like I never like watched it with him. It was just like something that I knew about. But I saw Tony Chopper, and I was like, that is the cutest fucking thing I've ever seen. So as like a joke for Christmas, because of how big Labubus are, there's like One Piece Labubus. So I like bought my dad some because I was like, that's like funny. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I was like, if you get Tony Chopper, I'm stealing it. So he's currently working in San Francisco and he comes back home on the weekends. And there's a Pop Mart by where he works. And he brought me a One Piece Labubu last week. And you'll never guess who I got. I got Tony Chopper. First try. I was so happy. Yeah, that was big for me. I've also been playing pickleball a ton. I have a mantra that I create. Okay, so I feel like I kind of get uncomfortable when I'm like not good at something. It's not even that. I just want to be good at something the first time I try it. Like that's
Yeah.
just how my brain works. And with pickleball, I like wasn't good at it for the first time. So I was like, okay, whatever, I give up. Like I would still play it, but I wouldn't like try to be good. And then my dad was like, no, like you need to like get into the headspace of like wanting to succeed and like being a baddie. Like be who you are basically. Because like that's how I always am, is like I'm always driven.
You
So it
say
was like,
wanting to succeed and being a baddie.
yeah.
Okay.
You know Robert's my biggest fan. But
Yes, you did.
but like he literally made me play pickleball and he was like, you like need to like log in. And I
I need
was like,
pickleball footage. That's what I want to see.
okay. I'll try to take some. I think I'm gonna go play tomorrow because I'm finally feeling better. But it's really fun. I think you would enjoy it, Morgan. And I like have pick now I have pickleball shoes. I have a special paddle. I it's yeah. But both the teams that I root for in hockey got into playoffs.
Hey,
So now I'm gonna see if I can go to one of those games, but they're expensive. But yeah, I feel like I had a good week even though I was sick. I've been knitting a lot.
I'm trying to get back in my crochet bag. I'm like, I made like this is like a scrunchy thing I made like last year.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, it's like kind of massive, but it looks like a big flower when I put it on the back of my head.
I've
But
been wanting to like make a crochet star scrunchie.
do it.
I know I should.
Get into that. I would like to see it.
What have you been up to, Morgan?
What have I been up to? This week was honestly insane and crazy. I was doing too much and now I'm tired. But um, first of all, it was hot, which automatically like it just puts me in a place, you know. I'm not going to talk about it again because I don't want to get mad, but it just makes everything, especially in New York when it's hot or when it's raining, it makes everything that you have to do feel exponentially harder. But last weekend, my sister came to visit, which was really cool. And we just kind of like,
Sydney.
Sydney, yeah. We just like kind of hung out and spent some time together. And like, We went to the park and we got some mangoes with tahini, which is always just like
Mm.
a beautiful experience. And she was literally only here for like a day, but it was nice. I was having like a really emotionally and mentally hard week. And I was like, all right, time to smoke cigarettes out the window. But that saved me from doing that. So that was good. I had a game night with some of my friends, and before the game night, we did watch the people from Artemis to land back in the ocean, and that was fun and
Mm.
silly and cool. And then we played the Wii for a while. And if you haven't played Just Dance in a while, pick up your Wii remote and bust a move because it put me in such a good mood. And then I had an audition on Monday, which was great. Like I haven't had an in-person audition where I've had to sing in so long. And I forgot, like, I didn't forget how much I love it, but I'm always reminded of how much I love it whenever I go in there and just like sing a little song. It makes me very emotional. But that was great. And then I saw The Lost Boys with my friend Morgan on Tuesday, and that was so much fun. I think we need to bring more horror to the stage. I really like being scared in the theater, and it's live. It feels a little more real. And but it was a really fun show, and I hope that it has like a decent run. And then I had work. But today I saw Mother Mary, which is with Michaela Cole and Anne Hathaway, and it was really interesting. I need more people to see it so then I can talk about it because it was just artistically very interesting. I love the
Mm.
colors. I thought the performances were really strong. So I'm just interested to see what the people are saying. Now that I think about it, I don't think there was like a single man in the whole movie. Maybe that's why I enjoyed myself. Um, but yeah, like this week has just been like really crazy. But no, like this week genuinely just like regardless of it being hot, I felt so much better than I did last week. I love feeling hope for the future.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good place to be.
Let's get into the songs for this week. Yeah, so the first song I have is Go Away by Weezer and Best Coast.
Dude,
Um,
low-key, I love Weezer so much.
like sometimes Weezer just like hits the vibe. I
Like
don't know.
the Kings next season are doing like a Weezer night where I guess Weezer's gonna like perform during one of the intermissions, and I'm like, should I go?
Cool.
Should
Yeah,
I
you should go.
go?
I'm like, is Weezer one of those bands that people like troll about?
Yes,
Why? Because it's a bunch of white dudes.
I think so. Just because like they're like, oh, they make like virgin music.
Okay, that's a little funny.
What's with these homies dissing my
My
girl?
girl. No, but like, I don't know. I this one, I don't know. I love a song with a girl being just like, ew. And I feel like it fits the topic of today's conversation. But no, I love that song.
The song that I put next was "What You Saying" by Lil Uzi Vert. I have you heard this song, Morgan?
I have. I was just like giggling because I was like, oh.
No, I heard this song first like on shuffled music that was like a new
Mhm.
music, and I was like, wait, this is like really cool because it's like it's very different, I feel
Yeah,
like, from like the typical stuff that he puts out, and I was like, and also it's like very experimental, I feel like, so I enjoyed that aspect of it.
yeah. Okay. I said I was playing Just Dance with my friends. We didn't dance this song, but this song is on Just Dance 3, I think, and it's Move Your Feet by Junior Senior. And it
Living
literally
Dodgy.
like it's fun it's just like it's a cool song. It gives me the same vibes as on Melancholy Hill. It's just like that like kind of
Mm,
cartoonish like fun strut vibe.
yeah.
Yeah, and there's
It's
like
a very pink song.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like to me it's very like pink and like neon blue, just like
Yeah.
bubblegum. Yeah. Um but yeah, I that's the it's really silly. There was no like dead ass reason why that's in there.
The song that I picked next is I've Been in Love by Jungle and Channel Trust. I think that's how you say
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I just love this song so much. Like sometimes I'm in my synesthesia bag, so I like see colors when I like listen to music.
Hmm.
I know you have that too, Morgan. And this is just like a very red and yellow song to me.
I could see that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Like it feels almost like in the way it plays in my brain, it feels almost like Art Deco in the way that the colors move. Um, and it's just such like a positive vibe song, and I just like, oh, it's so good. If you haven't listened to it, please listen to it. It's
Like that whole album is honestly like full of very colorful bangers.
bangers.
I'm
Yeah.
like, what's the one I love? Candle Flame. I
Mm,
don't know. I
mhm.
had to reach in the back of my. I was like seeing the choreo in my mind, and I'm like, that's not what I want. But yeah, I love that album. Next song I have is Some Girl by Golding featuring Steve Lacy. But no, I like this song specifically. I remember there was one time we were walking around in London, or maybe I was walking around by myself, and I walked by the skate park that's like in uh
Mm.
it's near the National Theater. And like they were playing this song on like speakers, and it's like I'd already known the song before, but it just like matched the vibe like perfectly. And I also just love a Steve Lacy bass line and like again, it matches the vibe of today's conversation. It's like searching for compatibility, looking for the one that's right for me. Where do I go? And I'm like, oh, so true.
The next song I chose is Monster by Paramore because I was when we were talking about Paramore last week, I like went and was like, wait, like I was like obsessed with this song when I was like
Yeah.
in middle school probably. And then I saw it was on the Transformers soundtrack and I was like, I don't remember that at all. But I love the
Dude,
song.
in the 2000s, they used to cook on a movie soundtrack, okay? Like they would throw some heavy hitters on there because there's like the What I've Done by Linkin Park is on the Transformers soundtrack, 21 Guns by Green Day on the Transformers soundtrack. And I was like, y'all
Like
like
like for Optimus Prime?
what the like y'all weren't they don't nobody has any vision anymore. And like Paramore used to eat on a fucking like Decode was on the Twilight soundtrack for those who
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, I love a 2000s movie soundtrack. Jennifer's Body. We love that one.
Yes.
Paramore is also on that one. Or Haley
Hmm.
is. So anyway,
Who was Panic at the Disco?
so is Panic! At the Disco. Oh, I Would Die for You by Prince is my next song, which I think I said in last episode that like I've been listening to it a lot. The again, the guitar is so good. The drum machine, I guess it is, in the song is literally like like throughout the whole thing, and it just like has a certain pace to it that like makes my chest literally like I love Prince. Yeah, there's just something so insane about this song and this album.
The next song I have is Hold On, We're Going Home by Drake featuring Majid Jordan. And the reason I put this song is because I do not typically like Drake songs. He just doesn't really make music for me. But there are three Drake songs that I like. Maybe I'll reveal the other two to you if you are lucky in the future. This song just like, I don't know, it just like does something for me. It's like it feels kind of like you're like driving home and it's like sunset and there's like a bit of traffic and you're just
Exactly. And the windows are down.
yeah, and it's like kind of like warm, but also the like wind is crisp. Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, it's so nostalgic for me because it came out when we were like really young. But
Yeah, it did. I was still playing with dolls when the song came out.
the next song I put is Rebel Girl by Bikini Kill. I've been listening to the song for a while. I was at Buffalo Exchange thrifting as one is, and it started playing and I was just like, oh, like, yeah. And I what I love is like the last verse of the song, it's like each verse starts with the lead singer being like, that girl thinks she's the queen of the neighborhood. And then it's like she'll say something else. And then the last verse is like, that girl thinks she's the queen of the neighborhood. I got news for you. She is. And I'm like, yeah. No, but like I love it. I love it so much. And it's just like a really kind of fun song for the girls who have a little rage.
My last song is Chronic Sunshine by Cosmo Pike. I love Cosmo Pike's music. I I listened to him a lot in high school.
Hmm.
And then I don't know, they've been releasing newer music that I haven't really gotten into just because I honestly forgot that the song existed. But I was listening to it and I was just like, it's so groovy. It's just such it's like an easy listen. But I feel like this song and I've Been in Love like kind of mix well together. Like it's a
Yeah,
good
the
side into the
juxtaposition.
other. Yeah.
So I think that's all we have for today. If you made it this far, once again, thank you for tuning in. Yeah, we'll see you on the next one with whatever we talk about because I don't know what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, we'll see what we talk about. It'll
We
be a
talk it
surprise
all.
for you and me.
Maybe it'll just be an hour of silence.
Maybe we'll just stare at each other.
Just, but yeah, I'm excited for whatever we talk about next, and
Yeah.
we hope that you have a good week.
And this is not the
Buddy.
last time we're talking about dating. I'll tell you that right
No,
now for
because
free.
I'm sure it'll come back. I'm sure when I'm in my next relationship, the episode title is going to be "Guys, I'm in Love," and then the next episode will be just kidding. But yeah, love is out there. Go find it.